Community activists want the former police officer who killed Daunte Wright to face murder charges. Demonstrators have been hitting the streets of Brooklyn Center, Minnesota every night. Kim Potter is charged with manslaughter for killing 20-year-old Wright during a traffic stop last Sunday. The former Brooklyn Center police chief has said Potter meant to use her taser, but instead fired her gun. More than 400 miles away in Chicago, crowds gathered Friday night to protest the police killing of 13-year-old Adam Toledo. Officials released body camera footage of the March 29th shooting Thursday. It appears to show the boy tossing a gun just before an officer shoots him in the chest. Activists want the officer to be charged and fired. Of course, all of this is happening as jurors prepare to decide the fate of Derek Chauvin. He's facing murder and manslaughter charges for killing George Floyd last May. Prosecutors and defense lawyers have rested their cases without hearing Chauvin testify.
You understand that you have a Fifth Amendment privilege to remain silent. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you choose to exercise that right to remain silent, neither the state nor the court can comment on your silence as a sign or an indication of your guilt? Meaning they can't say he didn't get up and defend himself, so equate your silence with guilt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Have you made a decision today whether you intend to testify or whether you intend to invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege?
I will invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege today.
Closing arguments in the case will begin Monday. Minneapolis officials say that they are preparing for protests regardless of the verdict. For more on all of this, I'm joined now by Seft Hunter. He is the director of Black-led organizing and power building at the organization Community Change. Seft, good to have you here. Many people in Black and brown communities have been traumatized by police interactions, in some cases seeing them or experiencing them personally. But then there's also a lot of Americans who are feeling traumatized by the headlines that we're seeing, the videos that we're seeing, even the trial, these recent police shootings. How are all of those contributing to this collective trauma?
And Lana, thank you so much for having me on, and thanks for staying on the story. It's hard to believe, but it's been almost a year since we watched the murder of George Floyd on American street of Minneapolis in this case, in broad daylight with other officers watching and with the members of the community watching. We saw, as we now know, that Mr. Chauvin kept his knee on George Floyd's neck for about 9 minutes. We saw that he kept his knee on even after the officers checked and there were no pulse, right? This was something that as a nation, as a world for that matter, we watched. And now we watch over the last several weeks, not just the addition of other instances of violence against Black people, but also the trial now of Derek Chauvin. And I think in part, there's a sense as Black people that we feel really besieged. There's a sense that the violence that's directed towards us feels in some ways inescapable. And so the weight of just the constancy of this is something that we live with as Black people.
And is there, I mean, the question about solutions is more than we have time for in this show, Seft. But when we're talking about this issue, this trauma that people are experiencing, what do you say to people who are feeling like they just can't engage in it anymore?
Yeah, and it was interesting that you asked this question because yesterday I took some time just to work in my yard, something fairly ordinary and you know, like as most of us would do. And I could not stop but reflecting on the idea of whether or not I'm 43. And I wonder that within my lifetime, will I get the opportunity to live free of police violence, to be able to kind of walk out, you know, and walk down the street or to drive my car and go visit my parents across the highway? Will I ever in my lifetime get to experience what it means to really be free and to be free of just the constant threat that I could be pulled over and a routine traffic stop could actually result in the end of my life? And thus the weight of that question to me brings into full view just the thing that we face as Black people in a constant way. Every single experience that we have in public life, whether it be going to the grocery store, walking to the corner store, just routine things could potentially result in our lives being lost. Most of the cases that we're looking at that we've seen nationally were things that were fairly routine traffic stops, right? Your taillight being out, your registration not being potentially updated. Those things were
an air freshener.
An air freshener, just things that are fairly routine, actually then result in mostly Black people being murdered. And there is just a constant threat that we face as Black people that I can't really say enough, because it's something that is inescapable for us, because it is always present. It is always with us. We never get the opportunity to be able to kind of just participate in routine activities without the idea that it could, one encounter with police officers could result in our lives being snuffed out.
Seft, as you're explaining it, it's omnipresent. It is always there. And George Floyd's death is another tragic addition in the annals of history, but the list is long. Still, many people feel like this has galvanized a new movement that is actually providing the opportunity for difficult conversations and real reform. What is it about Floyd's death in particular, this moment in history, that is making things different? Is it different?
I think, Lana, it's the public nature of it. It is the egregious nature of it, right? It's the idea that as a country, and for that matter, as a world, when we look at, just the kind of global nature of the protests last summer and through the fall, that we could actually watch an officer kill someone in broad daylight and then actually have a conversation about whether or not he will be held accountable. And the reality is, when we look at the recent history of officers being charged with violence and even murder against Black people, the most common outcome is actually for them not to be charged, and when charged, for them to be found not guilty. And I think, in essence, what makes this case so different is that there was a collective nature to it. We were all stuck in our homes at the start of the pandemic, and so we all got to watch with an excruciating detail George Floyd being murdered on the streets of Minneapolis. And now we get to see whether or not we're all kind of jurists in this process. We're all basically kind of by proxy sitting, in judgment of this American system, and whether or not it will actually extend justice to Black people. And I think in this particular case, this feels much different because there's a collective nature to it.
Well, we're also dealing now with the headlines of Daunte Wright, of Adam Toledo. So, as you say, we're in judgment in this one case, but it is all across our country. It's all across the world, frankly. But when we're talking about actual reforms, what reforms do you think are needed in law enforcement and the wider justice system?
Yeah, and I think there are a number of them. And I think in part, we have to kind of just be really clear that it is actually a system of injustice that is on trial in this case, right? And so the interest that we're seeing in the George Floyd case extends, it has implications for what happens across the country in other cases. And so in part, the system is also on trial here. The American system of injustice is in fact on trial. Now, we've had conversations in Congress about the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, and I think that is an important point of consideration. But we know that the bulk of policing happens in states and municipalities. And so we need to look at, not just the kind of national reform that is being discussed in Congress, some of the reforms being pressed, looking at ending qualified immunity and other national legislation, but also some local reforms. We know that roughly around, half or more of local resources in municipalities get allocated to this kind of broad category of public safety. And that tends to not leave much resources for other community priorities. So we do need to have a conversation around, like, how do we actually prioritize local resources to ensure that other things that we know extend safety to communities can also be funded and also get prioritized. We also know that really looking at reforms in having greater openness and transparency in police collective bargaining agreements must also be considered, right? Because we know that it is often those structures that are far out of view of communities that actually results in the lack of accountability that we see in many of these cases. And so local reforms are going to be critically important, but then there are also some things that Congress can do as well.
Well, Seft, as you say, critical conversations that we all must continue having. Seft Hunter, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Lana.